All right, welcome back to Sugar Beats. I got with me Michelle. Michelle's a phenomenal actress and comedian, and you've got so much going on right now. I know it's getting close to the holidays. Hopefully, you're not traveling too much away from your family during that time, but I know how it is. So
yeah, I actually want to travel far away from my family during this time of year because I love my family, but it's always like, oh, how's the comedy? How's acting? Are you paying bills? Are you single?
yeah,
So really high tense question.
Well, you are single. I'm single too, so you never know what could happen. It's hard to say.
We'll both stay single together.
Well, people are together single. Do that make them eventually a couple? I don't know.
No, well, I say that because single is the way. I feel like single is, for me, a happy place.
Yes.
And it's not that being with somebody is not a happy place, but I don't know. I haven't had luck with being with somebody.
Well, I think that everyone's different. So you get some people, they cannot be away from someone. They got to have somebody in their life.
Yeah.
And you've met those kind. And then there's other people that they can't live with anybody else either. So
Right.
it's kind of, that's their gig. And then there's those people, I'm happy either way. I can be there. So
that sounds like a lot of men I date. Yeah, they give me that answer. They're like, I can be there at some point during your lifetime when your back is turned towards me.
So what kind of men do you meet?
I meet a lot of men. The men that I like throughout, my travels and in my comedy, I meet a lot of men. And also just in day to day, you meet men, right? And women. But the men that I attract, that I start to have feelings for are typically really sweet and kind.
Okay.
Face value. It's like a really nice piece of chocolate. And then when you bite into it, it's like a cherry jubilee and it's like disgusting.
Yeah.
But I don't bite into them. All right, we're going there. Okay.
So you don't bite into them?
Unless they're being very mean. No. So I just tend to really fall for men that don't want commitment, but they don't like flat out say it. It's not like, yeah, I just want to bang you. But they state something in the very beginning that's a red flag. And I poke fun at it in my comedy that I ignore these red flags, like decorate with them for Christmas. But I don't know. I feel like there's something wrong right now with the way I connect with somebody, and that's the one I usually get attracted to. And then when it goes south, I tend to like fall into a fetal position for 8 months, and I don't want to meet anybody else.
Okay. Exactly what are you attracted to? Is it just the looks? Is it the smell? Is it the job they have? Is it the car they drive? Is it something deeper? What are you attracted to?
I like that, the smell. Well, I love a good smell.
Me too, actually, yeah.
Don't you, when you smell somebody and their scent is like, you're like, ooh.
And you can't quantify it.
You can't. I know. It's the best feeling when they smell good. When they smell bad, when they look good and they smell bad, that's a disappointment, right? Because you're like, oh, the pheromones are off there. I don't think it's anything particular. I have a joke that I like these big Latin guys. I had a thing for big, thick Latin guys from like the
like
street.
Fluffy.
Like fluffy,
yeah.
But they're, I now have kind of veered away from that. I like a good Romeo and Juliet type relationship, but minus the suicide. I definitely, but I thought about that recently. I'm like, I feel like that's my thing. That's what I'm attracted to. But we can't be together, but we can.
More like a West Side Story.
Yeah, or West Side. Ooh,
okay.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. But I'm like the Italian Tony. What? That makes no sense. Tony's Italian. I'm the female Tony, and I'm looking for a Maria or Mario. No.
There you go.
I'm looking for well, you get it. Okay. Martino. Okay, whatever. I like Puerto Rican men though. That's
okay. Hey, Puerto Ricans are pretty decent people.
I love Latin. I have Puerto Rican cousins, and like I have a lot of friends who are Puerto. I don't know. I grew up.
Well, you live in New York, right?
I live right in New Jersey, North Jersey. But
okay.
I did date a lot of Puerto Rican guys in my early high school and college, and then I married an Italian guys I dated, and then like I married a non-Italian white guy who we were just really opposite, and I don't know what attracted me to him at first. I think we were just he was very calm, and I was not calm, and it just kind of evened out.
Yeah.
But
opposites attract kind of thing.
Right. Well, up until a point, I feel like we were like sugar and gasoline kind of things. Like I was really hyper and he's full of gas. That's a new joke I'm working on. I don't know if that's too corny.
No, I like
don't
it.
know.
I like it.
But okay, so the kind of guy that I really, really want and kind of try to manifest is someone who's loyal, who's funny, who's sexy. And sexy is not really, I joke about the tall and the big, but it's just in essence, like, we vibe together.
Yeah.
And over the years, it has been various guys. Like they're big, they're short. But the thread that has stayed consistent is that there's some traumatic issue with being with me. And I know that sounds really horrible, but it's like what's been happening the last 7 years.
Wow. Okay. Well, at least you're starting to see a pattern.
Yeah.
You're starting to figure that out. That's good. I mean, that's what life's about sometimes. You gotta throw the ball against the,
I've thrown
wall a little
balls.
bit until the ball falls down or the ball goes away. One of the two. So.
I've thrown many balls at the wall and it keeps hitting me in the head.
All right. So, now you are married. I mean, you were married. That's why you're divorced.
Yes, thank God.
And you have a child.
I do.
And they're a wonderful person.
Yeah, she is.
And you're really glad that they're not like you, or you're glad that she's doing exactly what you do.
She is, I would say she is like my spirit in essence.
Oh,
so
good,
she is a lot like me. And I'm glad because one thing I do really value about myself is that I am optimistic. I always try to see the glass half full. And even though I have these disastrous, like dating things, my life went into a different direction. I never planned to who plans to get divorced, right?
No one does.
No one, right. Actually, no, I do plan to get divorced. That's my next goal.
Oh, okay.
Because it's for the brand. I have so many divorce attorney friends. I want to get married just to get divorced again and make it another, I don't know. But no, my daughter is beautiful and smart and spunky, and she loves gymnastics, and she is like already filters out things through her gymnastics, and I love seeing that.
Good.
Because it shows me that I'm doing something right with her, and her energy is a lot like mine. So yeah.
Now, obviously, you have extended family. You got your parents, stuff like that involved with your life, probably, right?
Yeah.
And so that helps her.
Yes.
Because without a dad, or does the dad come around a lot too? Is that cool?
She's with him now.
Oh, good. Well, then she's
is.
well balanced. That's great.
She is well balanced. In fact, it's so funny. Her dad and I like aren't best friends. We're not going to be. I feel like we would have stayed married or something. I hate, but it took a long time to get where we are now.
Okay.
Like even last year, I would like send him messages like very subjectively, like, this is your child too. You should care a little more, And then I actually have a friend who came to the show last year when I was here, who's an attorney, and said, you just need to speak objectively to him.
Okay.
And I was like, I am. She's like, no. Like, you just state what you need or what it has to happen. Use words like thank you. Ugh. I was like, really?
Wow.
It was hard for me to say thank you.
The first thing you said sounded exactly like the Italian moms in my neighborhood. The second thing does not sound like them at all. I could not imagine any of them being kind and polite while they're talking to their husbands.
Oh, I know.
Ever.
No, my parents were like, what's subjective, We are, who's subjective and where does he live? I don't know. Yeah, my family, I was working on this the other day. I was like, it's so funny. My ex-husband's girlfriend texted me this really beautiful thing this morning. Really not, I know. And I was like very thankful.
It's always like a knife in the back, isn't? Oh,
no,
sorry.
no, it was no, because she wrote me something that was like showing me that she gets my perspective a little bit, and
okay,
and I appreciated it. And she wants me for Christmas to do a joke about her on stage.
Really?
Isn't that?
You already do jokes
Awesome.
about her, don't
Awesome.
you?
I don't. I did a joke. I did a joke about one of his former girlfriends that he like surprised onto me because I do a joke on I used to, I don't do it anymore, but it was this girlfriend he had years ago. Like, I didn't know he had a girlfriend, and I found out because my daughter went there, and I went to go pick her up at her dad's, and she's like, I didn't sleep here last night. And I was like, where did you sleep? She goes, at Daddy's friend's house. And I was like,
there you go.
and then what I found out though is that they slept in my daughter and his girlfriend at the time's daughter slept in the same bed, first time ever meeting, and then the next day they took a bath together. So I told him on the phone, I got so angry. I ran downstairs to my parents' basement where I was living at the time, living the life. And I said, you are not allowed to have play dates anymore when you have her. He's like, you can't tell me who I can bring around our daughter. I was like, fine, fair enough. You can't call the cops on me when I stab you in your face. I never stabbed him in his face. But this girlfriend now is not like that. She actually doesn't have any kids. She's and I think that she so I like the fact that she was like, make a joke. Like, I want a joke. I don't want a gift. I want a joke. And I was like, wow, this chick gets it.
Wow.
So
cool.
I was very thankful for that.
So I know that you've been on the road some. You've been pushing hard. With COVID, everything was kind of swallowed up. Even though I know you were still on the road some with that, which is really good, which is impressive because a lot of comedians they kind of went red line. So
it is, and I think we talked about this last year when we met too.
Right,
It was scary because I left my full-time teaching job. I was teaching for a while theater, in between acting full-time, teaching theater. Now I went back to performing full-time, but I was afraid. Like, what am I going to do? Because we didn't know what virtual performance would be. We didn't know what the virtual lens would be. And I'm thankfully was able to shift my comedy in a way where now we're back to in-person performances, but I can still monetize off these platforms, TikTok, Instagram. There's ways, podcasts. And I just enjoy creating whatever the lens is. So.
Sure. When you got like a zillion hits.
A zillion would be great. I
mean,
mean,
or 2 zillion. I can't remember what the new number is.
And that's the thing that gets in your 3 zillion. That gets in your head as a performer because you start like, I'm very vocal about like I'm not perfect and like I worry and am I good enough, imposter syndrome, and like I do have a habit of like comparing myself to other people and then feeling bad about it and like, oh, am I not doing? And then you have to say, who gives a F?
Right.
Fudge. I want to be me and accept me and just, it is what it is. If I don't get the views today, I'm going to keep creating the things that I feel are connect to my world.
Well, you know what? It's part of life. I watch people grow, and part of that growth is to come to terms with who you are and who you're not. Everyone's got dents and dings, the older you get especially, and it's like, eventually, this is as young as I'm ever going to be. You come to those kind of terms of, I'm probably going to be less pretty and less young later than I am now. And you say, okay, well, this is good enough because I'm not going to stop living. I'm going to enjoy what I can and move with what I got. And
this is exactly why I told my mom I'm flashing the audience tomorrow night.
Well, you don't have to wait.
This is, well, I mean, in some retrospect, though, it is like I auditioned for a part. And I didn't get it, but I was hoping I'd get it because it was paying a lot of money. It was on what show it was? One of those Netflix like dramas, and it was a body double for a simulating. Am I allowed to say something? I don't know if I'm allowed to
say whatever you want.
It was a body double for simulating masturbation in the shower. Okay. And I first submitted for it. And I didn't realize because it was like, you're going to be nude, but you're not going to be nude on camera, but you'll be nude in the scene.
So you were masturbating the body double is what you were doing. No.
I would be. This is not, I wasn't auditioning for a porn. It was a legitimate Netflix show. I can't remember what it was though. It was, what's the guy's name from American Horror Story? It was his new show. But
Brad Pitt?
No, it was, oh man, this is going to bother me. It's a big show on Netflix. And anyway, that I don't remember, which is why I didn't get the part clearly.
There you go.
But so you had to be a body double for the actress who's on camera because I would be nude in the shower simulating a masturbation of this character would be masturbating, right? Now, the part didn't mean you had to mess, obviously, but there would be they call them intimacy coordinators on set.
Okay,
they would be present, and the pay scale for this was like $2,000 a day.
Wow.
Yeah, and I talked with my manager. I was like, oh my god, I submitted for it, and then I got the call. I got the call to submit a tape of I had to audition. Like they said, you can wear like a bikini. You don't have to be nude or anything like that, but that you were showering, like you were just, nothing sexual, but they wanted to see. And I was like, okay. and I was like, I had no problem doing it, not because I'm a sensual sexual person. I'm like, this is an acting role, and I'm all for it. Also, it's paying a lot of money, and I felt also like, look, I'm now 41. Like, when am I going to get an opportunity like this
You look
again?
great for 41, by the way.
Thank you. I keep hitting the mic. Clearly,
That's fine.
I'm an awkward performer.
My tech guy loves when we mess around with the mics a lot.
I'm sorry. So I did the audition. I submitted, and then they asked me that they're like, we're sending it over to production. And I contacted my manager. I'm like, oh my God, is that a good sign? He's like, it's a good sign, but you didn't book it yet. And I didn't book it.
Okay.
But going back
now you
to,
know that's an option going forward for these. I'm looking for a masturbator kind of role. You can do that.
well, here's what I
it
would
opens
say.
up those doors.
I would never do something like, hey, I'm just gonna do an OnlyFans or Pornhub, and there's nothing wrong with people that do that. That's their perspective. For me, doing nude scenes and doing something that's risque as a character, I'm totally open for, because, and I also feel real proud about my body.
Sure.
And and I'm getting older. I don't know how long I'm gonna have my tits and ass. Oh crap.
Well, hopefully you'll have it for at least another year or two.
I hope so. Let's hope for another 40. There's so many things now with plastic surgery that I'm game for anything. That I hopefully will be able to afford some.
Now, you haven't had any knife action, have you?
No, unfortunately.
So nips and tucks? No. Okay.
No, nips and tucks. I would like to do. My cousins think I should. My cousin is got gorgeous skin, and she does like some regimens, and so told me like, she goes, you just need a little filler, a little Botox, but I can't afford it right now.
I think you look great.
Thank you. And I'm also afraid to get it. I don't know.
Well, I think there's a portion of our population that always tries to look like they don't. And then there's a portion of the population that's absolutely fine with a pretty woman looking pretty.
Yes, exactly.
She doesn't have to doll up. She looks pretty already. Just go for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. I think it's about how you feel inside. So I shave my legs when I'm doing a show.
Me too. Makes me feel sexy.
Because I don't want the front row to be a little scared. No, well, but I also do it for me. So I think that if I ever were to do that, if I had the money and the energy, like, it's because it makes me feel a little good. It's just like getting a facial or nails done, or going to my medium and asking what's going on with the guy I'm talking to, stuff like that.
Yeah. Now, talking about mediums, and I know that many people use them.
Yeah.
Do you have a Puerto Rican medium, or is this a medium that's actually like
she actually is Puerto Rican? Oh, she's Cuban. No, she's Cuban.
Okay. Well, there's a difference.
She's amazing. She is amazing. I love this woman.
Okay.
But I don't go see her. I only see her like I haven't seen her in a year actually. A couple months actually.
Okay. And she reaches out to the dead for you.
No, she doesn't reach out to them. They reach out to her.
Okay.
Like
that's what I kind of meant. I misphrased that. I apologize. And I apologize to all the mediums out there that are probably doing voodoo on me right now. Understand?
Well, no, I actually, just went to her. I was curious what the process would be. And then ever since I did it once, I kind of just go back and see what we talk about and see what comes up. Because when I first went to her, my grandfather came through, and I didn't tell him nothing about anything. And I was like, whoa. And now we're more like friends. Like
cool.
we're friends, but like I still always like go talk to her. And it's not like everything she says is true or everything she says is gonna happen. She just talks about things in my life, and she asks me, and she goes, oh, maybe just, be mindful of this, and this is, good thing. She doesn't. It's not like a doomsday thing. I really enjoy her. I do think that it's relative again. I think if you're not a fan of it, great, don't do it. Don't practice it, or don't go see the medium.
Well, I think that they are great therapists because they have a huge amount of insight into humanity. Mm-hmm. They understand a lot more than we would give them credit for necessarily on the human condition and who we are as people and what pushes buttons. And so as a therapist, it's fantastic. Now if you lose your life savings from it, that's not so cool. But as far as just, understanding how human beings interact within their own mind, because it's really a mind trick.
100%.
It's like they broke the code somewhere, and they help each other know how to break that code. And
well, there's
really
books
cool.
about everyone's able to do it if they tap in. I've read a few. So with that said, she uses her skill, and I'm not sure if I'm quoting this correctly, but she's told me in the past she works with people who have cancer in helping them heal. So it's not even about telling their future or anything like that. She helps them heal. So it's not even it's almost like she does a lot of different things through her talent, her skill that she was blessed with. But she even said, she goes, there's a lot, all of us have ability to feel from other side, but it's how you tap in. And some of us, it comes easier than others, and some of them, are resistant to it.
Yeah, for me, I'm very much a scientist. I approach everything that
My ex was that.
But see, because I am an honest scientist as far as the way I approach things, there are certain things that are unexplainable, which moves into that realm. Is it a different dimension? Is it this? Is it that? Is it a spiritual thing? I think that there's room for that because there are certain things that cannot be explained. Period. I don't care who you are. And if you say it's different, you're lying to yourself.
I believe that. I agree.
That being said, I'm not sure that all of them are 100% honest, quality people.
You mean
not all of
Madame
them?
Marie at the carnival who was asking me for $10 to read my palm? No, I had my grandmother had a kooky friend who used to do that. My dad. She gave us the Maloid, that woman. And my dad literally thought that those people were the devils. So when I told I was so nervous when my friend just, have her read your cards. I was like, I can't, I'm going to go to hell. And then I, at the time, was banging a younger guy who was like, it was a whole thing. And my friend was like, I'm sure this is not the first time you went against your parents' wish. So why don't you? I was like, all right, fine. So that was right when I was first getting divorced. And, I just tried it out, and I was like, "Oh, this is harmless." But yes, there are people that I think that do stuff like that are not conjuring up good energy, and it's just bad energy. But I also do think that we can all live together with our opinions and our feelings and how we do that, and as long as it's in an empathetic kind way, whatever you believe in, and you're practicing for your own health, that's fine, and that can go in with how you look, how you feel, what job you choose to do. If you want to be a comedian, if you want to perform, if you want to write poetry based on your divorce, I don't know. My dad actually, I thought was going to be the hardest one to pull on, the medium thing.
Yeah.
And then when I went the first time and I told him about his father, I said, you have to go to his grave and make peace and tell him to move on. My dad was like, okay, and he did, because my grandfather was struggling with how he treated my father.
Okay.
As a spirit, and it was intense. And so the fact that my dad is an old school Italian Catholic guy, right?
Yeah.
Who had that experience with somebody who was like a weird psychic lady. He believed the fact that he's like, okay, I will. And then ever since then, our energy towards the past had shifted a little bit. But
sure.
It's all about who you trust.
Well, even like in cinema, you look at the old Wolfman, the original Wolfman, where he goes to the gypsy woman, and that was the medium. He got the crystal ball, the whole 9 yards, and then you go to Ghost, which is in the 1980s, where they're getting the nice creamy clay between their hands, and they're like,
I have sex with ghosts all the time.
So I think the median has kind of changed a little bit of super creepy gypsy lady to. This is kind of sensual. The same with vampires. Vampires used to be like, oh, they're going to kill you. And now it's like, wow, he's kind of hot. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, maybe we could get something going. I don't know.
I would imagine that my future partner would like to role play as a ghost and a vampire. In fact, I'm Little Red. He's the big bad wolf. These are sick fantasies of mine, but they work.
Fantasies are great.
They are.
They really are excellent.
They're healthy. Have you ever met, I feel like, I don't know. I couldn't be with somebody that didn't, on a side note, I couldn't be with somebody that didn't want to have fantasies with me. There's, I don't know.
Well, I think that it was one of my favorite Rodney Dangerfield jokes. He says, we're trying to have sex. I'm trying to have sex with my wife, and I look down and go, you can't think of anyone else either? It's just like the perfect joke of, I'm not here and I don't know how to get here. So, with fantasies kind of help the couple, hopefully, move together into this.
I know.
This, okay. I can be a little less inhibited. I can maybe do a little more fun stuff because, hey,
put the pillowcase over your head for the last darn time. I don't want to look at your nostrils. What was that? Oh, God. I mean, it definitely didn't save my marriage to pretend he was somebody else, but, we're here now, so.
Well, some marriages are lost because people are pretending that they're with someone else and they really are. So that's another problem.
I was hoping I was really with him, but I wasn't. I mean, with the other person I was pretending to be with.
Cool.
So, maybe that's why I'm single. It's like God's like, well, you were not very nice to your husband. I wasn't cheating on him, but I knew that if we stayed together,
sure,
it would have gone down a bad road.
So obviously I've been divorced. So I know that pain. It's not great in some ways, and in other ways it's kind of freeing. But my question is this. What motivates you to get out there with Divorce Diaries, which is a great name, by the way?
Thank you.
But what motivates you to stay on that topic when obviously there's got to be a little bit of rawness from time to time? How do you do that? What was the reason you really pushed through on that?
Well, I think that's a great question because it's actually something I've been dealing with a lot lately. I've been thinking of that specific question because when I meet somebody, specifically a guy, the dating component of the show, if something happens, I'm going to create from it.
Right.
But the problem with that then becomes that I start getting in my feelings again. And then I'll start creating a joke and go off on my own tangent alone in my apartment. Like, why didn't you pick up your phone when I texted you? And then people are like, why is this? Well, who's screaming in that apartment? Like, and I'm not even joking because I'll start going into a different route. And I'm like, I just wasted a half an hour going into a tangent about this thing. But it's also part of the creative process, right?
Yes.
So it is a balance. So, and case in point, I met somebody recently who I really, really like, and he's very private.
Sure.
And he said to me, he's like, I just don't know what's going to be material, what conversations are me and you, and what are for your show. And then I really thought about that, and I was like, well, I don't want him to think like I'm just using him. And he's like, no, I don't think that at all. It's just, I feel like what am I doing? And, then I think about my family. When I put my mom in my show, my mom will just be like, you think this is funny? I paid for college for you to stand on stage and make fun of me. But she's my mom. She's going to love me unconditionally.
Yeah.
But
well, if you find the right guy, he'll do that too. That'll be hard.
I know.
And I know.
I love it. You just said that's going to be hard. Yeah. Let's hope it's hard.
Well,
for longer than 5 minutes.
You got a win-win here, to be honest. If the guy can't handle it, now you got more material to work with. Or if you learn to segregate that out a little bit and still use enough material so you're still funny and you really enjoy life, then you've sheltered that private aspect, and now you have a rich, beautiful thing that's not shared with everybody, which actually has a little more value to him and maybe to you. Okay,
so this is amazing. I'm not kidding. Like, this is what I have been thinking on the last 24 hours.
Okay.
Because I did think that same exact thing you just said. I was like, maybe I cannot completely cover up, but maybe not show the nipple. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that.
I'm not making
quite
a joke,
bit of cleavage, but not the nipple.
But not the nipple. So because what I know, like, it's hard to find somebody that is just really going to say, yeah, put it all out there, because not everyone, no one needs to sign up for that. I sign up for that, but like, yes, and so what I'm hoping is with this person, if he's meant to stay in my life, that I can navigate it appropriately, and he still can also not feel like, I don't want the other person walking on eggshells, but I don't want to walk on eggshells.
Right.
But if there's a delicate balance, whereas like we were talking about not cursing, right? Even though I messed up that a little bit, but if I'm on, if I'm on those morning talk shows, I go to promote the show in these different cities. I have to be on my, P's and Q's. T's and Q's, P's and Q's.
I think P's and Q's work. Yeah.
So I have to look at it like that, where it's like, you are on camera for, if you're going to talk about this relationship, it's got to be funny to the point where he's peeing himself.
Right.
So maybe that just pushes me to the artistic edge. But at the same time, if he's, if that person is still not happy, then it's just not meant to be. But, I'm a hopeless romantic. So
well, let's just look at I think this guy's great.
Okay.
I've never met him. Don't know who he is. It's fine with me.
David
But I
is
think
not-
this guy's great because he has helped you to understand a part of him that a lot of guys, they'll just shut up because they want sex. That's it. And
I haven't slept
then
with
you
him
start.
yet.
Oh, that's cool. That's actually pretty awesome. I like that. But I'm
We're
saying,
technically not dating either.
well, I'm just saying for this guy,
Yes,
he
sorry.
is actually put something in front of you that is very helpful for you because now
Yes.
you know. Now I get to make that decision. If I push it here and he'll walk away, that's cool. Or if I don't push it here and he stays with me, but now I'm in control. I'm doing the decision rather than him not saying anything and then just ghosting you one day and saying, I'm not going to put up with this. And you don't even know why. You know,
Yeah.
that happens a lot in humanity where, you know, you don't really want to say something because they might not like it. And then you just finally reach that threshold. You just walk away and they're like, what happened? I thought it was okay. You know, rather now he's giving you that choice of, here, I'm going to empower you to say, if this is worth it, cool. And if it's not, cool.
Yeah.
And I think that's great for that guy.
I think it's
For you, not for him, but for
him.
you.
Right. Okay. This
He's
is
actually
great.
put you in the driver's seat saying, you know, take either way, you know, and I like that.
I hope there's more to it because there's a whole other thing I was telling you about our backgrounds, but I do think that that's a great way to look at it. And I also think though for myself,
Yeah.
with this said, I have to learn from my past of like, because I'm always like, my dad used to always say when I was a kid, my dad would say over and over again, don't believe anything a guy has to tell you. They just want to sleep with you. And I was like, okay, Dad, of course. And then I was getting older and older, even in high school. I was like, oh, Dad. And then when I finally really started to get it, I was in my 20s.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I think my dad was right. And now in my
He's
adulthood,
100% right.
He's 100% right. So I don't know if this guy's like, I keep saying, guys, like, you just think I want it. Every single guy that I have fallen for is like, you just think I want sex from you, but that's not it at all. I was like, no, you're right. It's not it. It's some emotional support I give off.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not saying this guy particularly, but my spidey sense is up because the last 3 guys, it's like I'm an emotional support dog to walk them to the other side of the street to their new love of their life, which is football, their mother, or some chick named Belinda. You know, I don't know.
Okay, that's excellent.
I hate this last guy, this producer guy that I not even dated, but I had a romance with him. I thought he was the love of my life for real.
Yeah.
And he dropped me so fast after our romance when I got back to New Jersey. I lost it. Like I lost it on him. So I created a bunch of material about him.
Yeah.
And then he said he didn't care. He's like, yeah, create from it. Create from it, Michele. That's my Cuban accent. It sucks. But I hate this little man so much.
You know, I got a Cuban shirt and a Cuban hat and a
I
Cuban
love
cigar.
Cubans.
I could bring all of those
No.
just to give you a little more comfort here. Just so
I
you know.
love Cubans. He seemed so. I love all people, not just Cubans. But he was just. I was attracted to him because he was Latin and he was Cuban
Sure.
accent and like he was tiny little guy. I thought he was. Look, he looks like a Cuban leprechaun. And I was like, how harmful can this little guy be? Now that I'm doing my set on the podcast, but I really did. When I was doing this at home, I was like, he looks like he looks like a Cuban. Like I was like, you know, and I don't know. I think like us kissing in the ocean was perfect, and he did a complete 180. I wrote a short film called 180 after this happened last year.
Wow.
It won in a film festival, by the way.
Way to go. Congratulations.
I won 125. Thank you, but I won $125 from it, and I wanted to text him and be like, ugh.
It would have been better if they would have given you $180.
Exactly.
That
Actually, I
would
think it
have
was
been
175. 175. 180.
Kick it up, baby. Come on, a little bit more.
But you were talking about Raw. Speaking of Raw,
Yeah.
we didn't use a condom, so it was a whole issue.
Oh, okay. And that was less than 9 months ago, right?
I was hoping.
Just checking. I'm
No,
not
it
sure.
was a year, almost over a year ago.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. All
yeah,
right.
I know. It's been desolate for a while. It's been a very dry year.
I'm sorry to hear
It's
that.
okay.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's right. My gynecologist can't take me crying in the fetal position on the the table anymore. She every time I like we tried using a condom. It's not that I don't use condoms, but it didn't work at first, and then like we used one, then we didn't. It was just So and he didn't have sex for 2.5 years. Because of his ex-wife.
He forgot how.
He forgot how. Well, he seemed
now.
like he knew what he was doing.
All you little leaguers out there, when you first start back up, you got to read a manual. You got to make sure you know what you're doing.
I don't know. I have a thing with for some reason the condoms in the past, he put it on and it went, and then
it went what?
It went flat. It did. And he was hot. He was sorry. And that's when I felt so bad. He goes, and he said to me after when it went soft, he goes, "It's not you. I'm just."
Oh my.
He goes, "It's not you. I'm just not connecting right now." And I was like, "What the fuck do you need to connect?"
At some point, blue pills are very helpful too.
He blamed it on me indirectly. He's like, "I just not connecting to you right now." And I was like, then he
That's the
used
wrong
a feather.
Move. That's the wrong. He used a feather on you?
He used one of those like little feather things that you like. It's like it wasn't a whip, but it was like a little feather whip. Yeah, I guess it was a whip. It was hot, but it was also confused. I was like, "Am I a cat?" Like I don't.
Maybe that's a Cuban thing. I've never seen that before.
I think this guy had a couple of hidden things in his closet. I don't know. Here's the thing. I trusted him.
Maybe he was soft because he hasn't come out of the closet. It's hard to say.
God, I hope not.
Hard to say. You never know.
I only hope not, because then that makes me feel like why you're choosing to be with me. I guess it doesn't matter if he was, if he likes men and women, that's one thing, but he never addressed that with me.
Right.
He and I think that we were being sexual with each other, and especially that we didn't use a condom. I would hope he would have been honest about stuff like that, because I trusted him. And what upset me so much was that that emotional trust, that intimate trust, is that he took it and threw it in my face when I got back home. Was like, "I don't want to be with you," and that made me want to roast the heck out of him on stage.
Yeah, that's about as horrid as he could be to a human being, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he has an ex. I don't know. Should I not say it?
It's up to you. We can edit it out after if you want.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's try this out.
All right.
So one of the nights that we were asleep is one of the nights. He's in LA. I'm in Jersey, and we were talking. We had like a 4-month friendship.
Wow.
I think I did a little bit about him on stage last year, and I'll do some tomorrow night. But he has his own podcast, or had his own podcast. That's how we met, right?
The Cuban Leprechaun.
The Cuban Leprechaun. They're
Excellent.
magically disgusting. So,
guys, just so you know, the tech guys cannot stop laughing
I
back
love
there.
that.
They are snorting
Thank
like
God.
crazy.
I'm doing
I don't know.
something right
You
in
can't
my
hear it with
life.
these mics. These mics are good, but I'm telling you right now, it's extremely distracting and enjoyable at the same
I'm glad.
time.
This means that my craft is working. Keep banging unavailable men, Michelle. It's paying off from your NYU degree. We would have these long conversations on the phone about our relationships, which was nice, connecting with him. Then he tells me about one of his ex-girlfriends. One of my ex-girlfriends was a gold digger, and I introduced her. That's not really how he talked, but we're going to go with the accent.
I like it. It's working for me.
And he goes, "But I introduced her to her now celebrity husband." And I was like, "Celebrity husband?" So he was saying that a man in the Hollywood world,
yes,
who has a famous show, Pets, and he whispers to them. He was telling me on the phone that his ex-girlfriend is now that guy's fiance wife.
The Beaver Whisperer.
The Beaver Whisperer.
Yes.
But I
try to watch that often, by the way.
David will tell me later if we should cut this.
Keep it calm, submissive.
So I
Don't let
looked
it
up.
bite.
I mean, look, anybody could say. I could say, yeah,
Exactly.
I banged. I don't know. I could say that I banged a celebrity and didn't, but that's just that's hearsay. But he said that this was his ex-girlfriend and that he coached her to be with this guy. And I was like, what?
Wow.
How could you say that? And I looked this girl up. She's gorgeous. She looks like a princess from I don't want to out her, but whatever, you probably Google it. She's like a beautiful Latina princess. Literally, she looks gorgeous. Wow. How could this tiny Gollum looking mother effer coach her to be the Beaver Whisperer? Get out of here. The only thing this guy could coach is a rat to a sewer.
Wow.
Because he's a rat.
Well, I have to say,
See, I'm getting.
at least half the women I know are in that princess category. They're gorgeous. They're wonderful people. So I don't think you're singling out any one woman.
No, you're right.
You
But
know.
this woman was like,
I'd say at least
J-Lo
50% of
gorgeous.
women are at that level or higher.
oh, that's nice.
You know, there are a few that don't make that cut, but most of them are pretty decent.
Well, okay, so she's decent times 100.
Wow.
Beautiful. And that's
Okay.
why I was like, why are you taking the credit? He's taking credit. And I don't know why
He's a producer. That's all you get is the credit. You don't act.
Well,
you don't
there
do
you go.
anything. You just, we know producers.
Yeah,
They got
you're right.
zero, nothing except the credit.
And he has this line in his bits. They the credits. He's got a credit for something. You're projecting all of this onto me, and I was like, I'd like to project something onto you. You freaking. I don't know. I guess I do.
And
Bash
so
men a
you
little
use
bit.
these kind of moments in your life to fuel the desire
roast.
to actually be on stage and explain to people
Here's my thing.
divorce diaries or
Yeah, so in divorce diary. So Michelle, you're saying that if a guy crosses you, to duck because you're going to start throwing things at him on now.
you're a Taylor Swift of comedy is what you're saying.
David
Taylor
Fox Mullen
Swift
just said that. Taylor
of
Swift of
comedy.
comedy, yes.
I like it.
Someone else, you literally, somebody else just said, no, you said that, Fox. Yes, and my medium actually said this to me when after all this happened. She said to me, she goes, I don't know, Michelle, you're like the Tasmanian devil with this guy.
Wow.
He
A
doesn't know how to
medium
take
calling
it
you
'cause
a
you're just
devil. This is a spiritual thing for sure. I like it.
Because she goes, you shouldn't stop. She goes, she says the spirit. She goes, spirit does not want you to stop making these videos. She's showing me videos, content. They don't want you to stop. And so now I feel like I have a higher being. I was raised Catholic, so I'm like, Jesus told me to, okay?
I like it.
I don't know why I'm screaming.
Now,
Sorry.
as a medium, can she get some of those people to subscribe? Because I know you make a little better monetary if they're actually queuing in somehow.
She could. I don't know. I don't tell her to share my stuff, but she could.
I wonder if you got the metaverse, which is not real.
I have all.
Maybe
yeah.
you have a spiritual dimension on the metaverse that would be able to subscribe.
Yeah,
we got
I
to
love it.
talk to whoever, Zuckerberg or whoever, to say, hey, in the metaverse, you got to have this layer of spirituality so that they can subscribe to stuff
I think that would be great.
after
Subscribe,
death.
Subscribe after death.
I think there's a real thing in there from Zuckerberg to do.
Yeah, I do. I'm on a better place now than I was with this guy. After you just saw me get real worked up. I've taken deep breaths from it. I mean, he made me feel really bad. I still contacted this guy last year to try to resolve the conflict I felt like
no
we
way.
had.
Really? That's not
I
a
am the
smart
problem.
move.
I know that.
That's not a smart move.
No, clearly I'm not very smart. I know it's funny. My daughter last night, she had a little issue with like this game Roblox and her former friend blocking her. And I was like thinking like the way I would think and the way I react with things. I was like, how many times did you message her? You know, like I was like, maybe I am the problem.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I'm the problem. I joke about that, but I do like to have closure 10 times at least.
Closure is way overrated.
I need it.
Moving on is a great thing.
I don't move on. I
A
linger.
fantastic thing. Let me tell you. Just, okay, gone. Let's keep moving
I
on.
linger like deodorant.
That closure stuff, that's a killer.
It is.
Because then your mind plays with that all the time. Just let it go. You know,
If
it's
you
like
start
that
singing
Frozen
Elsa,
song.
no, please
Yeah,
don't.
Exactly.
Please don't.
Actually, it was Thanksgiving yesterday, and so I'm playing the piano for a while, and my 6-year-old granddaughter comes up and goes, "Can you play this song?" And I'm like, "What song?" And she says, "Frozen." I'm like, "No." And so my beautiful daughter says, "Oh, he can play it." She pulls it up on her phone, so I start playing it a little bit. I'm like, "Oh, okay," and she knows all the words and stuff. And then after that, I got the guitar out and I started playing different crazy fun songs. Because I like the kids to be jumping around and dancing and going,
Yeah,
it's
that's
always fun.
sweet.
And then I started playing Frozen again, and she was singing at the top of her lungs.
Aw.
I wish I had a video camera because it was really like one of those moments
Yeah.
like, you're not going to get that again.
You're not going to get those moments again. And you know what I think that Disney is finally doing that they didn't do when I was a kid? Promoting positive self-awareness for women. Like, we
Really?
needed that. Let it go. Like, she's singing to Let It Go. When I was a kid, Ariel changed her entire species for a man. So I don't know why I'm in this problem.
I don't think
predicament.
that's ever going to go away.
No, I'm going to keep changing my. If I could just remove my legs and become a mermaid, he'll love me. What that fin does for his, I don't know.
You know,
Prince
it's a
Eric.
mixed bag with mermaids. You know, obviously the top's hot, but the bottom, what do you do with it? I don't know. It's hard to
That's
say.
my thing too. Like, what I mean, I clearly it was just for the man to get his pleasure of his, you know. I don't feel like if you think about it, if you really think about it, if you just wanted to, like, you couldn't fornicate with a mermaid. You could just have her fornicate you if you're the guy. I mean, it's really selfish, actually, for guys to have this mermaid fantasy. Like, really?
Well, it's the spawn.
I would like a male mermaid. That's
it's the
it.
spawn and the egg thing. You know, that's the problem.
Right.
It's the spawn and the egg. I'm not sure how that works.
I mean, I don't know, unless there's some sort of like orgasmic fin play.
You know, I got to search deeper on the internet now. There might be something there.
I'm turned on by it, actually. Now that I think about it, a guy who doesn't get a boner from looking at me but can only pleasure me with his mouth. That's really hot, actually.
Wow.
Isn't
You're
it?
right. That's
Because
probably
mermaids
something.
don't have anything down there either, do they? How do they pee? They
I don't know.
All right,
That's
this
a good
is.
question.
I'm sorry.
No, I think that moving into the mermaid action is probably something you've never done before ever on an interview
No, I have
or a
not.
podcast ever. This is breaking brand new
We're
ground,
breaking
people.
brand new ground. I'm going to change to interspecies.
And we didn't even talk about the crab. Keith the girl.
Yes.
We didn't talk about the crab
I
or
love
anything.
that he follows them everywhere. So maybe there's something we don't know.
Well, crabs, yeah, something. I'm not sure.
He's a lobster. Is he a lobster? He's a lobster. No, he's a crab. He's a crab. You're right.
We're gonna have our tech guy look this up real quick. I think he's a crab, but then again, it's hard to say.
He has pinchers. That's what I know.
Ooh.
He is neurotic as F. So
That could be sexy.
if they know what they're doing. I hate when a guy initially just starts tweaking them, and it's like you have not done anything. I had slept with an ex-boyfriend months ago to get rid of this producer's bad juju, and so I replaced it with another old wound. And
Okay.
he says to me,
You
on
got
a
a
side-
brand new boyfriend. This is the way it goes, right?
No, he's not. No. Well,
Oh,
so
okay.
this was back in May. He came. It was an ex-boyfriend I do in the show who
Okay.
likes it. He's a cop, and he used to be in the military. So I feel like he doesn't give an F. He's just like, please, I served in Kuwait. Like, I'm okay with you poking fun at me. Like,
Yeah. I think Cody's got the answer
okay.
for
What's
us.
the answer? Lobster. Or
So as much as he looks like a lobster, Disney says he is a crab.
So he looks like a lobster, but he's a crab. I love it. Okay, good. We've got the answer.
I
a
look
crab.
like I am rational, but when you really unpack it, I need to pay my therapy bill so I can go back.
Let's talk about this. You had the Cuban leprechaun, which is definitely a unique kind of person. You've
Yeah.
got the cop, which I think there's a lot of cops, so I don't think that's unique. In
Okay,
any way.
yeah,
I think
yes.
cop is pretty general. And then you've
But
got
also military cop. Or maybe that's the same. No,
yeah,
okay.
it's kind of the same. I mean,
All right, so he's the same, yeah.
yeah. And then what other occupational hazards have you crossed in this journey of
Coach.
yours?
A coach.
A coach,
Yeah.
really? Like a coach of football or
Yeah,
basketball?
football
or-
coach.
Okay.
Oh God, that was a bad journey for almost
Did he
for almost
call
2
numbers
years.
out at all during any time
No,
with
but
you?
but his
Okay.
wife called me.
Oh, that's a bad. Okay, that is bad.
She called me and she's like, "What kind of relationship do you have with my husband?" She was a Puerto Rican woman, and I was like, "Not a good one." I know that was horrible. If it was a bad time, I hit it. You know, I was stupidly believing things, ignoring it, on and off for almost a year and a half. And this emotional connection and sexual connection we had was
Yeah.
very strong, which
Yeah.
it probably was because we were living on this Romeo and Juliet / hide under the covers.
Romance
sorry.
is a very powerful thing. You know,
Well,
that-
yeah, I mean, if you call
If
hiding,
it's chemicals or whatever else it is, there's something about it that's just.
it was
How do you
romantic.
explain it? It's really tough.
It was romantic when we ordered food and hid in my apartment for a year and a half.
Wow.
That was really super romantic. I really valued myself at that point in my life. My My mom was really proud.
So what are their occupations?
I dated this Greek guy for a little bit. He was an entrepreneur.
Opa.
But he owned a bagel store. Yeah, Opa. He owned a bagel store, not a diner. Just so you're clear, he didn't own a diner.
There is a big difference.
He was very adamant about that. I don't own a diner. No, he was obsessed with his businesses. I actually
Was his name Nick?
no, I can't
Okay.
tell you his name for legal purposes. But the reason why actually we dated, but
Because
we
I might
never
know
said.
him. If it's Nick, I might know the guy.
No. His name was not Nick. But he was like very obsessed with his businesses
Okay.
and kept telling me, you know, why do you think I just want to have sex with you? And I was like, because you basically just call me to have sex with you. You know, he would text me, when are we getting together? And then we'd get together and I would go home and they'd be like, but I want to see you at my apartment. I was like, I think you just want to have sex with me. Like, that's not it. I said, okay, well then make an effort, come to my show. He would never come to my show. And then I stopped. He came to my apartment one afternoon because he owned the bagel store right around the block from my house. And this is how we met, which I thought was lovely. And then as I got to know him, I realized I was like, oh, there's a reason he's 45, never been married, no kids. I don't think he even lived with anybody, which was a little bit of a red flag for me. And I don't like to say that because I know that those are stereotypes, but I was concerned. I was like, well, and he was very, very much a mama's boy, only child, product of divorce. But I thought that would be good because, you know, my kid's going to be product of divorce. We connect, you know.
Yeah.
So he just didn't put in the effort and we stayed friends. But before we went to the friendship, I did ask him to come over. I was like, make an effort. You work around the block. Come over for the afternoon for an hour before my daughter's school. Right before the pandemic. We had a makeout session.
Whoa.
No.
Not good.
I didn't feel anything.
Oh my.
When it doesn't get awake for like makeout, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And it's not that like, and he smelled. Like he didn't smell bad, but the smell wasn't good.
Smelled like a bagel?
Sweat bagel.
A sweaty
Sweat
bagel.
everything bagel.
Oh,
with
baby. Some lox and cheese, the whole 9 yards.
spanakopita. No, but like I didn't swipe, but I definitely felt like he was massaging me. And I was like, I don't feel no movement.
Wow. Wow, that's
I
terrible.
mean, you feel when a guy's making out with you and touching your body, you hope to get them aroused. Now, if there was an issue he had, I'm sorry, but he was so cocky, you thought the thing would come up for a little bit of air.
You know, that is something. That is something right there.
So I think he either has issues there.
So
or
obviously he
something.
wasn't seeing you just for the sex.
I mean, at that point, I didn't really care. I was like, let's just be friends. But I didn't say that.
I always felt when a woman says, "Are you just interested in me for sex?" I was like disappointed because it's like she should just be interested in me for sex. It should be that good that like I don't care about anything else. Sex is enough. We can do that.
But I get attached. So if you're having sex with me,
Yeah.
I'm emotionally, like for me, sex is not enjoyable unless there is an emotional connection.
There has to be an emotional you know, sex is like 90% brain. I don't care what anyone else says.
Okay, I
it's about
appreciate
10%
that.
physical and about 90% brain. Because
100%.
otherwise, how does porn live? You know, porn would never exist at all if it was just physical. You know,
Okay,
it's
but-
90% brain and it's about 10% physical. Now the
Yes.
physical is important. I'm not discounting any of
Yeah.
that.
But emotional stimulation is
But
huge.
the expectation, the anticipation, the
foreplay.
all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And then afterward, that afterglow of, you know, just feel like you just melted into someone else's heart and you're right, just living there.
I don't really get that.
Isn't
They're
that
like,
great?
I gotta go, and
Oh,
they zip
okay.
up. I'm glad you're bringing these to light now because
I'm sorry.
No,
I didn't
it's
mean to-
okay,
I
but
didn't mean
like-
to make some painful wounds. I thought we were on the same page for a minute.
The coach did that a little bit. That coach and I had that, and that's messed up because he was married. We had that, which is what I think held me on.
Okay.
But with the cop, there wasn't that. Like I thought I was in love with him, but if I look back emotionally, he was stopped
Yeah.
at a point.
Yeah.
And with the producer, there was an emotional stop too. I think that the cop and I had this rendezvous a couple months ago, and then when we were done, because we weren't together. Well, before
Sure.
he got there, he texts me. He's like, play with yourself. He goes, you better be touching yourself. And I was like, that is not going
Wow.
to get me turned on, you idiot. You have to come and talk to me about your
Wow.
life. That playing with myself, imagining you is not going to do it. As no matter how big or thick it is.
No, I never even tried that approach. That's a different
To
one.
play, but she's.
I'm learning stuff today. Learning it didn't work.
Well,
but
it
still,
didn't work
it's
for
like,
me.
hey.
I mean, for some people, it might if you really just want to get turned on. And it's not that it wouldn't turn you on, but the best turn on in foreplay, and this new guy, the best part was the most turn on I've been in so long has been with him, and he's just was like kissing my ear, like.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, and like that to me is, I mean, literally I was twitching. So like for somebody and to kiss and feel each other's connection, I know you guys are like barf, right? But
No,
I'm
but 100% there.
And it makes a woman very moist. And I'm not trying to be silly and funny, but it's the truth. And it turns us on in a way that I feel like, that's what makes us special as women, right? We
Absolutely.
have these multidimensionals, but like this cop just is not. He's shut down emotionally, so I don't think with me he is. He probably.
No, they have to disconnect for work.
I
and It's really
know.
hard to reconnect. That's why when I was asking about other people, because I got cops in the family. I understand cops. Cops are, my heart goes out to them because
know.
literally they have to shut down a part of who they are
Because there's so.
to do the job.
Yeah.
But then when the job's done, how do you turn it back on?
I turn it back on.
And how do you turn it back on meaningfully? It's extremely difficult.
There's so much trauma, and he had a lot
It's one of the
personal
suckiest
trauma.
jobs in the world, to be honest.
It's hard. I mean, I have a girl. One of my best friends is an NYPD cop, and I don't know how she's a mom, and she's going through a second divorce right now, and the fact that she's able to turn it on and off, I don't know how she does it.
Yeah.
And the
Well, maybe
coach,
women can more. I only know male cops. Sorry about that.
She-
Maybe women have that
she's
ability.
she's very much like me emotionally,
Okay,
and so
okay.
she does struggle with it, but she's a strong woman to be able to go in for do a double,
Right.
go pick her kids, and it's like, and in New York City, I don't know, wow, but But like she'll call me, and her and the guys will be talking about. Well, they'll talk about this stuff to get them through the day
Yeah.
too, and pump it up a little bit. But the coach and I had an emotional connection. The Greek guy and I thought we did, and then there was no physical chemistry for me.
Right,
The pheromones
right.
weren't there. And the producer and I had an emotional connection because we were long distance.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we saw each other in person for the first time, we had a 4-day romance, and it was beautiful.
Oh, okay.
I think I was used specifically from this producer. I call him the producer in my show. He's in tech in the entertainment industry. He's
Those
done
tech guys, man.
well, I should say he's an actual producer, but he's also like an AD, and he does film, and he's a writer, and like he and I really did connect. And what was disappointing was that I felt like what I shared with him
Yes.
was used against me to be like, oh, you're crazy.
Right.
And the fact that he went on his podcast and made this episode about his first time having sex after his divorce with me. Didn't say my name or anything, but which I was like, please say my name so everybody knows. And then he said at the very end, it was a very narcissistic way of saying, you're special. He said,
Yeah.
you're special. I just don't want a relationship with you. And I was like, what the hell? I was crying listening to it. I was like, why would you do that? He also made me an unboxing video telling me how much he didn't want to be with me because I sent him a new pair of sheets because after our romance, I ruined them.
Oh, my.
Yeah, it was a bloody mess because I had my
Okay.
period, but that was TMI.
Well, I wasn't sure where that was going.
Well,
It could have been a lot of different things, actually, in my brain.
I guess I should say it because I thought that's why he really liked me. It was like I told him, I was like, I have my period and I will throw down whenever.
Yeah.
As long as the other partner is comfortable. And he was
Sure.
like, I always say if a guy can't bang me on if a man that I'm with can't bang me on my period, then he's gonna get effed up on my period because I am a vicious person.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know. As I get older, it gets worse. So we had this.
Do you think when you hit that menopause area, it's going to get like Chernobyl? Are you just expecting
Probably.
this? Okay,
think
it's
it's
going to
gonna get
come to this
worse.
climax of I will be killing lots of people at Walmart before I'm done, kind of thing.
Well, I think they're gonna.
like that
I think I'm gonna have
manager
to be
or
put into
something.
a room for like 10 days, especially if my daughter's gonna get her period around the same time. It's gonna be a mess.
Wow, that would be like a double whammy.
Yeah, she's gonna go into the custody of her dad at that point. Yee. So I sent him, whatever. We had an intimate moment when I was on my period, so I sent him new sheets because he was very comfortable with me and I was comfortable with him.
That's
and
a kind gesture. It really is.
Right.
And kind of romantic. It
Well,
really is.
He unboxed, recorded himself. In fact, I still have it on my computer, so after this, I can actually show it to you. I'm not even kidding. I will
Wow.
show it to you. He sent me a video of him unboxing it and then reading my letter to him. I sent him a nice letter and pictures of us from the trip. And he read it and gave his opinion. And he basically went into an inner monologue like he was on The Bachelor of how much he didn't want to be with me.
Oh, wow.
It was messed up.
That's messed up. That's messed up.
And what's worse is I thanked him for it.
No way. Mm-hmm. Wow.
I was so confused by it at first. I was like, why would he send that to me? And then afterwards,
So-
people were like, you shouldn't do that.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever dated comedians or other people that are actors?
Yep.
And what's that like? Because I hear that, sometimes people that they're in the same trade that you're in, sometimes that actually works out better.
I thought it would be that way with this guy because he's been in entertainment. He was an actor when he was younger, but primarily behind the scenes. And there was one guy, not really fully dated a comedian or actor, but I went on a date with a comedian actor that was my friend this year. Totally bummed me out because he knows my show.
Uh-huh.
Very well, actually. He knows me. And we went out twice. The second time I realized it was a date, and then we were having a nice time, and then
How did you not realize it was a date the first
because
time?
we were, because we went out as friends the first time. And
Oh, okay,
prior to
okay,
that, I
okay.
bought a ticket. He was on Broadway. I bought a ticket to his Broadway show, and his dad had died.
Oh my.
So he wasn't in it the night that I had the ticket. He wasn't going to be in it because his dad died. So I was like, oh, no worries, And then we were trying to get together, and
yeah.
so months passed by. We still talked, and the first time we went out was just as friends, I thought. And then he's like, we should do this again. I was like, yeah. And he paid the first time too. So I was like, oh, that was sweet of him.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean anything, guys being gentlemanlike, whatever. And then on the next time, he's like, well, do you want to go for dinner? And I was like, all right,
Sure.
sure. So he picks me up this time. The last time we had met each other there. And then he's like, I made a reservation. And I was like, oh, it's the date. Okay. So I was excited. I wasn't sure if I really felt like I emotionally connected with him, but there was some attraction and I was open to it. So, and that was the first time I was like, I think I like him. And then we went for drinks after, and then he drove me back to my apartment and he's like, can I kiss you? And I was like, yeah. And then we were kissing. And it was getting a little more intense, and there was a car behind him because I live on a one-way street with no parking.
Mm-hmm.
It's the divorce street in New Jersey. And he's like, "Can I come in?" And I was like, "No." It's like, look, I really like you, but I'd rather us get to know each other than just come in.
Yeah.
And he just didn't talk to me after. So it was a little
Wow.
bit of a bummer. And I actually addressed it with him. I asked like a week later, I was like, can you give me a call? Because I had said right after, I was like, I really like you. I don't want you to think I don't want you to come in. But
Sure.
I explain and re-explain myself over voice threads and text messages and narrative essays. And
Yeah.
but he was also my friend enough to know that I do that. Didn't hear from him. And then 2 weeks, this was 2 weeks later, I texted him. I was like, hey, can you give me a call if you have a chance this weekend? I wanted to address it. Plus, we both have the same manager.
Okay.
That's how we met.
Okay.
We were both on a gig together. And so he called me immediately, actually, from the text. And I was like, oh, hey. He's like, what's up? I was like, oh, I wanted to address, I haven't talked to you and like, what happened? Like, I like you and I thought you liked me. He's like, yeah, I think we're just going to have to be friends. I thought about it. And I was like, I said, what? I said, oh. I said, well, I wasn't looking for like a hookup. He's like, neither am I.
Right.
I was like, oh, okay. So he just went on about how he didn't want us. He just wanted us to be friends. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. If you just want to be friends and you didn't want a friend with benefits, what were you trying to do? You were trying to bang me, just be honest. And I got off the phone. I haven't talked to him since. And that was a couple months ago. I was
okay.
bummed about it because he was my friend. And he was the only really
I think
actor.
he's still your real friend.
You think so?
Oh, I absolutely think he's a real friend. I think it's awkward for him, and you guys got to have a little more time, and then you'll be talking again. So I did want to ask a couple more things, but I know you got some show plugs to do, so let's plug those real quick.
Okay.
And then I got a couple more questions, if that's okay.
Of course, you can ask me questions all day long.
All right.
So I don't know. So tomorrow night, which is Saturday, 11/26. I will be performing at the Lincoln Lodge Divorce Diaries.
Okay.
Very excited. We are doing a live taping for Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
So if you miss the show, you'll get to see it and purchase it on Amazon Prime very, very soon. And if you want to know how soon, you can follow divorcediariesshow.com. Every single platform known to man, like every single one,
Okay.
Divorce Diaries is on.
And some known to women.
And some man and woman. I'm sorry, you're right.
Okay.
So like Instagram, TikTok. Make sure you see my face with it because sometimes there's like, as much as you trademark names and copyright things, people still use it. So divorcediariesshow.com. If you're looking for a comedian to hire at your divorce party, your marriage, your engagement, your bachelor, I don't know, a bris, is that weird? That's weird. Whatever. It's not weird. Who cares? I will be there. So
That's
then
excellent.
I'm doing Long Island, baby, where I went to college, where
Whoa.
I first started dating unavailable weird men, but Italian beefy ones. Okay. So Long Island Governor's Comedy Club, that's December 2nd. And then, baby, I'm back in Chicago for New Year's Eve.
All right.
That's at Wheaton, Illinois.
Okay.
I'm bringing Wheaties back
All
to
right.
Wheaton.
Good.
What happened to Wheaties, by the way?
You know what? That's a good
Just saying.
question.
Wheaton, Illinois at the West Side Improv, New Year's Eve. It's going to be an 8:00 show and then a party after so we can get lit up.
Okay.
Whether we drink or not, we're going to light up Chicago with our
Exactly.
sparklers.
I love it. That's good.
And then I'm back in Jersey, January 14th, Comedy Dojo East in Morris Plains, New Jersey.
Comedy Dojo. That's a great name.
Dojo Comedy East, Dojo East. Yeah, there's one on the West and the East Coast. So
okay.
I think there was one in Chicago. I'm not sure, but yeah.
I love it. Love it. So the question there's a couple more, but one question I really have, and I think it's cool, maybe, is do you have advice for people that are getting married or are married? Because you've gone through and you've kind of analyzed every direction of this. What would your advice be for people getting married or that are married?
Wow, I really feel privileged.
This is a Dr.
Right
Phil
now.
moment.
I do
just
love
so you
this
know.
because it's like because the advice I would say is be true to who you are because I suppressed a lot of who I was over the years, even before I got married, to I think fit what I thought my ex-husband needed, which was my own fault. Be who you are, and if you're unhappy, speak up.
Sure.
And you don't have to get married. I'm not telling you not to. I don't know, but be who you are.
Well, I know you. I like that the idea that they don't have to get married unless there's a shotgun involved. There's not a lot of choices.
And I will.
Which in the South still happens more than you would think.
I don't know what you mean by that. I would never do that to my partner. No, I say that I would never get. I say to people like I'll never get married again just because I don't want the small percentage of me getting divorced again. But I know
you're getting married again. There's no doubt in my mind. You're getting married
Did
again.
you hear that?
Absolutely.
I'm getting married in the morning.
And you know the weird
Ding
part
dong
of it
bells
is
are gonna shine.
you're probably gonna have a
Sorry.
great marriage because you've already worked through all of these things. You're probably gonna be one of the best, most balanced married person on the planet because no one else does this. They ignore it, they let it go by, and then they do the same mistake a second time. No.
Can I take you to my mom?
Is she hot? Oh.
She actually is, but she's not like me. She'd be like, oh my God. Michelle, please cover it. She told me to cover up. I'm like, I'm 41. I'm unleashing them all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was one of my main questions, because I really think you are a wonderful person.
Oh,
and
I
that's
think you're
just
wonderful.
You know, we've met before, and
Yeah.
we had a chance to talk for quite a while. And
Yes.
again, I mean, just sometimes you go through the hard parts in life, and it doesn't mean that everything always has to be hard.
100%. I think that if you find your outlet in life, whether that's performance, whether that's art, whether that's visual art, whether it's cooking, whether it's making magnets, I don't know. If you find your area,
The Magnet
I don't know.
Makers Union.
magnets, if you find the thing that really makes you tick, you got to filter out your tragedies or challenges in life through it, because that's what gets you through. And that is what we're here for. Like, you know, I do value marriage in the institution of being with a partner, regardless of the state and the letter and all that stuff. Like, my parents were married for 45 years, happily in love.
Right.
And they threatened divorce every day, but they really were. Like, my dad,
They're Italian.
they were Italian, yeah. And my dad passed almost 3 years ago in a couple weeks, right? And my mom is really trying to always do her best and give her best in life, but it's a struggle to grieve your partner, right?
Yeah.
And like that kind of love that they had, you know, I hope I have someday with somebody, because it's, you know, it's amazing. And
It is.
Yeah.
And I know that making fun of divorce, I know they have divorce parties now. They have all these other
Yeah.
types of things, but there is something to be said about really finding that human being that you really connect with, and through thick and thin, when you hate them, when you love them, and all, you just stick with it. And I think that is a beautiful thing. So
thank you. I
and
do too.
I see that in your eyes, and I really do. You know, I'm not a medium. At least I don't get paid as one. But,
Well, I think you can feel energies. That's a good energy
the
vibe.
spirit of Babe Ruth has been talking to me while we've been on this conversation,
Oh.
and he's saying, "Point to the bleachers, baby."
Oh, that's weird, because we have a Babe Ruth thing in my family. We do. That's weird. I love that. Yes. Where's the bleachers?
Well, yeah, they're quite a ways. But
In June of 2021, I shot a TV pilot based on the live show of Divorce Diaries. And it's been circulating film festivals, and it's been winning awards. And when I met David Voxmullen, who I just love repeating his name, David Voxmullen, 3 times, and he appears. No, David Voxmullen.
famous.
He's famous, yes.
David.
The famous David. When I met him last year when I did the show in Chicago, in Aurora, we stayed connected, and I showed him the pilot early spring last year. And then he's like, I want to be a part of it, because I was looking for someone to help me produce the series, especially to film a season 1. Because what I was running up against with this proof of concept was I really need, I either need to, even celebrities have difficulty pitching their
Sure.
shows, right? So I really need a product, because I think what's going to happen is once I have the product, we're going to keep generating more and more and more.
So who's going to play you?
Me, boo.
Oh, okay. I was hoping like J-Lo or somebody like that.
J-Lo, there's
J-Lo
so
would
many
be
parts.
great.
There's so,
I like watching her do anything.
but
to be
there's
honest.
only one me. All right, fine. I love how my producer has such faith in me. He's like, girl, you're right. I could not say no to Jennifer Lopez.
So who's
when
going
she
to play your
comes.
mom? Because she's not going to play your mom.
Edie Falco.
Ooh, I like.
I liked
that.
Edie Falco. I like
That's
her.
good.
I don't know. I mean, that's just a rant. Yeah, I would love for. This is the thing with the actors, and we are not there yet with casting for the series,
Sure.
but what we're trying to do next is not trying to. We are in pre-production for season 1. We have a writing team together that David helped me conjure up, and also just so like I was looking for the right person to work with for a while, and I felt like I kept hitting against a brick, and you know. And not to pull the female card, but I had a lot of guys that were coming in my path, my wavelength, that were like trying to tell me this is what you need to do and this is how you should do it. And I felt overwhelmed because I wanted to be polite and generous, but I also felt like I'm not feeling comfortable. I'm not feeling like
So
I
you
can
like
trust you.
female writers?
I do, but I
As
wasn't
a preference, not as
not even writers,
rule.
producers. I wasn't running into a
Okay.
female producer, and it didn't have to be a female producer. It was just what was happening. I
Okay.
did connect with a lot of female creatives like myself,
Right.
and I'm so awkward and uncomfortable. I keep hitting the mic. Sorry.
You're doing great.
So, but that's the series. Me and my awkward inclusion.
Well, the reason I was asking who's going to act what, because I was like, Danny DeVito for the Cuban Leprechaun would be like, perfect. Danny DeVito,
there
Cuban
is,
Leprechaun. He could pull that off.
No, there's someone I thought of for him. Carlos Mencia.
Oh, okay.
But he's a little bit bigger than that. But like I would see Carlos.
Camera angles, you know.
But Carlos Mencia, not that it has to be the same body type, but like anyway. So there's tons of great actors that could play
Okay.
it. But so now we are in pre-production. We have a package together that we're presenting tomorrow morning at our investors meeting. And David and I and our director, Danny Reyes, who is another person that David introduced me to. We have a team. We have a
Okay.
creative team now.
Good.
And that was something after I made the proof of concept that I was searching for. I had a creative team to make the proof of concept that were great, but it was not what I was like, not people that I felt like, are they going to be with me long term? Do they see this as a vision the way I'm seeing it? I think they support me, but like the team I have right now is like, we're in it. Like we're in it to build a future. And I say we're building the future. So together as a team. And I'm excited because the 6 episodes we have written are funny as F.
Okay.
It's a mockumentary.
Is
and
it
it's exciting.
like 45 minutes each or
30 minutes?
30 minutes each?
Yeah.
Okay.
30-minute mockumentary. It's like The Office meets American Mom on amphetamines.
Wow. I
Yeah,
like
that's where
that.
we're going for. But
like
you know, you never know.
Okay. Well, if you need more writers, I've been at Second City doing some writing classes, and I know a couple people that
Nice.
are actually really sharp. So
Well, most of our
I'll throw
writing
them your
team.
way if you want.
Well, we have a writing team, and they are mostly all from Second City. Isn't that interesting?
It is interesting. So they tend to know how to do funny.
They do.
Not guaranteed, but they tend to know.
Well, they also, I think the thing with the writing with the writing team that we have too, we interviewed people, and I did feel like I put the energy out there, like just really want to work with people who are collaborative
Yes.
and funny. And I have to say, and I told David this, that each time I worked with the writers, each session was different and unique, and it was really great. And I was really like thankful that I had that work relationship. We did it over Zoom because I'm in Jersey, they're in Chicago, and that doesn't happen all the time, especially when you're writing together. You have to compromise.
Right.
And I'm also writing based off my life, and then trying to also throw in the not like fictional things, and to get that buy-in from a team that was supportive and not saying you have to change that. And more so, they were like, what if we did this? What about this? And it was very collaborative. And then I'm very thankful for that. And I was excited to the point where I was like jumping up and down and messaging them on Slack over and over again how happy I was. But
Good.
I know I'm too TMI, right? Or what is it?
No.
Too much PDA. Oh, I don't know.
No, it's good. I'm really glad for you. Thank you very much for joining Sugar Beats, you guys.
Thank you.
Subscribe, of course. Ring the notification. Check her out. Divorce Diaries is fantastic.
Thank you so much for having me,
Yeah,
Bob, for Sugar
absolutely.
Beats. I love the name too, Sugar Beats.
I do like the name. So
Yeah.
thanks a lot.
Thanks, Bob.
See you guys later.